Shaan Arora is the co-founder of Alia, an app that's quietly revolutionizing how brands turn website visitors into loyal customers. With some of the highest performing pop-ups in e-commerce, Alia is helping brands ditch traditional forms and double down on customer education, personalization, and conversion. Today, we hear the story behind the switch. So
Wow.
thanks for coming on, man.
Let's go. Dude, what an intro. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, of course, of course. All right, we got to get into the origin story.
Let's do
Take
it.
me back. How did
Yeah.
how did the idea come to you?
Yeah, it's a great one, right? And um, you know, so I started the company in college with my two co-founders, Corey and Bill, right? And it started really early, honestly. It started when I was in my third year of college. I was actually for my school building an application where you could learn about our you can learn about fintech in general, like the fintech industry. If it was for
Hmm.
this fintech club I was a part of, you can learn about
Hmm.
fintech and get rewarded in our school's currency for learning about
Hmm.
fintech. Essentially, it
Hmm.
was like learn about part one of fintech, part two, part three, and every part you do, you get rewards for doing it, and the reward would
Hmm.
be our school's Husky dollars. I went to Northeastern, so Husky
Hmm.
dollars. That was what I was doing, right, at university. It's like some project for a club,
Hmm.
and through that, I was like, oh wow, this notion of learning about something and getting rewarded is really really interesting, and
Hmm.
I wonder how it can be applied to the e-commerce world,
Hmm.
right? Like learn about something and get a reward, right? Learn about a brand and get a reward in that. So that was the initial notion. It's like, hey,
Hmm.
let's have customers learn about a brand and get
Hmm.
rewarded for that,
Hmm.
right? Now, I was in college. Me and Corey moved to New York City together for an internship and decided to really work on it while I was in college. And
Hmm.
did that during the internship. I graduated college. We had launched the company, had about two brands using our software. One was
Hmm.
my friend from one of my classes who I really convinced to use it. The other was Corey's cousin. So
Yeah.
yeah, very humble beginnings. No one really wanted to try it out in the beginning, but
Yeah.
we were lucky enough to have two or three people, and then I think another friend kind of begrudgingly she was like, "Okay, I'll put it on my website," right? Like,
Yeah.
and it was early, and didn't know what we were doing, and it was fun. And graduated college, had about two clients. They both paid us $10 a month, right? Most rational people would probably go get a job. I decided, hey, I'm gonna do this full time because I just love it. Like I just loved
Hmm.
every aspect of building a company and
Hmm.
owning something, right? Like the
Hmm.
the pride of owning something. I just loved.
Hmm.
That's the origin story. Graduated college, and now obviously I'm happy to go into details how we got here today, but yeah, that was the origin story. Launched the company, graduated college.
Okay, so this really intrigues me here. So before Alia, like, what was your relationship with like email tools? Like Mailchimp or Klaviyo or like Sendlane. Like, I mean, or like also too, like, did you grow up in business, entrepreneurship? Like, how did you get involved, in thinking this way?
Yeah, I mean, in terms of like the e-commerce side, I didn't really have much experience. I had once helped my mom a bit with her Shopify store because she was trying to move online, so I helped her a bit there, but nothing too crazy. I didn't really get super
Hmm.
deep in the weeds. Um, in terms of like growing up, yeah, my parents own a dental practice.
Hmm.
So, although it's not like a tech startup, it is a small
Right.
business. And growing
Right.
up, I think I resonated with the ideas of that, even maybe subconsciously. Now today, when I look back, I realize like there are ideas that my parents taught me that I really resonated with that made me who I am today.
Right.
Um, I think the idea of like ownership really
Hmm.
stuck with me, really
Hmm.
when I was younger, because my parents always owned a business, and like for
Hmm.
them that was their everything. It was like family and the business, like that's everything,
Hmm.
right? And I
Hmm.
think now for me, I don't have I mean, now for me, it's business is everything because I mean,
Right.
I'm pretty young. So, um, yeah, I think that's like, I not really no e-commerce experience, but I had
Right.
like seen my parents do business. Obviously, it was like
Hmm.
dental practice is very different from building a Shopify app, but like
Hmm.
I saw the ownership of a practice, which probably intrigued me a lot.
Yeah, it's really interesting. I remember when we onboarded for Fresh Chili, like one of the things that really kind of like stuck out to me is that like Corey was emailing me from my .edu. And I was like, this is really interesting. Like, you know, like pop-ups have always been like for me a very like you gotta have them.
Yeah.
They're not great for SEO, and the performance hasn't been great. And then like AMP kind of came on, then got acquired by Mailchimp, and all of a sudden like the data that you guys were collecting, when did you realize like pop-ups should be doing more than collecting emails? Like what was that? What was that light bulb moment for you guys?
Yeah, and it was early on, right? Because initially the idea we had was to learn about something and get rewarded for it, right? Like that was the initial idea for Alia. Even without the pop-ups, like the idea of learning about something, getting rewarded for it,
Mm,
right? What happened was we didn't get that many clients for that idea of like, because people were unsure where it fit in the landscape of a website. Like, where does the
yeah,
idea of learning about something and like asking questions, but
right.
the customer gets rewarded for answering questions and learning, like, where does that fit? Um, we read a book called Obviously Awesome um, about 6 months into the company and realized that we fit best as a pop up. So the
Mm,
notion to do more in a pop up started really early because it was like, where does this
mm,
fit? Oh, it fits well inside of a pop up. Now, how do we make sure that we are still crushing for opt ins, but doing a little bit more, right? The
mm,
education piece, the zero party data piece, like all those cool things. Like, how
mm,
do we bring that to life while still absolutely like crushing and being the highest converting pop up possible?
mm. Yeah, that's interesting. That kind of answers my next question of like why go all in on pop-ups. You answered that, but like where did the name come from?
The name,
Yeah,
it's funny, honestly. Like, so in Indian culture, it's actually like a pretty popular name. There's this one actress named Alia Bhatt. So
yeah,
she's like super famous, and anytime I talk to like my parents' friends about my company, they're like, "Oh,
yeah,
is Alia the name of your girlfriend?" And it's not, but it's like it's kind of
yeah,
funny because if I meet someone Indian, they always ask me that. It's pretty funny. But
yeah.
the name actually came in from because I think the best startup names are in Latin, right? So
Hmm.
me and Corey, early days, like very early, we're kind of
Yeah,
the name for the
yeah.
company, and we went through like Latin words for like 2 weeks, right?
Hmm.
We were like, okay, there was a bunch like Omnia, Ludus.
Hmm.
Eventually, we came across Alius, Alius, which
Hmm.
means different in Latin. Which obviously, I mean, I just like, I mean, that's kind of cool to have it be named different in Latin.
Right.
The feminine version of Alius in Latin is Alia,
Mm,
and I thought like it just sounded nice. I liked how it was in
mhm,
Latin, and I liked that it meant different. And
mm.
we were just like, hey, the name is cool. It's 4 letters. It's easy. And decided to just. I mean, it wasn't like super deep thought. We were just like,
Right.
let's have a cool name for our company. We thought it was cool. We were like, hopefully other
Yeah.
people think it's cool too one day.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. No,
Yeah,
it's memorable. Like it helps you stick out. Like you said, it's different. So,
nice.
okay, so you convinced a buddy and a cousin to try
Yeah,
it out.
yeah,
Walk me through some of the early like technical difficulties that you guys had.
yeah. It's a good question, right? So, we were fortunate because so when we launched, right before we launched the company, we had a team of students working with us
Okay.
as engineers. So engineering, like my friends from college. Like I'm
Hmm.
also a computer science major,
Hmm.
but I had like 5 or 6 computer science students who work with us as our first engineers.
Hmm.
Um, and I mean, how in college, like people are busy, they have other focuses. It's totally
Right.
fine. But one person, his name is Bill, who's now my CTO and co-founder,
Yeah.
was extraordinary. Like he did all of the work so quickly that he was cannibalizing the other people's work because he was doing it too, right?
Yeah.
Like just loved it, and we got along super well, and it became
Mm,
pretty clear that he should be the only person that does engineering because
mm,
he's that much better at it. And
mm,
again, I have a computer science background, but he's just so much better than I that it makes sense for him to just do all of it. So,
mm.
that's kind of how it worked, right? So he became the only engineer. We gave him CTO title. We launched the company, and early days, like I mean, honestly, I'm just super thankful for him because he has just, like in a company, some CEOs need to really worry about their engineering department.
Right.
And in
Right.
ours, that's not the case because he
Mm.
is just so talented and so passionate, and he's stressed a lot, which is what you want your CTO to be. He's worried. He stays up like he stays up at night making sure nothing's going wrong. If anything goes
Right.
wrong for a single second, he's on it. Like, and to me, like that gives me bliss as a CEO
Mm.
to know that my CTO will be there and will always ensure that we are, doing the right things, staying
Right.
online pretty much all the time,
Mhm.
and just being the best product possible.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Like, okay, so you got a great CTO. Talk about like a moment.
Hmm.
Talk about a moment that was like an aha moment or like a holy, like kind of a moment where you're like, I think we're onto something here, or an obstacle you were trying to solve, and you found a solution, or maybe you were working towards an issue, but this other solution provided itself, and you guys pivoted. Like, talk about a moment like that in your company, especially being early. Like, has it just been fully realized, like this is who we are, this is what we do from day one, or have you sort of pivoted along the way?
Yeah, I mean, we've pivoted, we've changed, right? I'd say the coolest early days moment, and
Yeah.
when I realized we had something was early on. We somehow got a call with this massive brand, and they were like
Mm-hmm.
open to trying it out, and
Mm-hmm.
I was like, wow, like they are open to trying it out. And I was like, that's
Mm-hmm.
that's pretty crazy that someone at this level is open to, number one, chatting with me, and number
Right.
two, open to using it,
Yeah.
right? And he was really excited about the prospect of like getting zero party data through the customer education piece
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
educating their customers. He had
Mm-hmm.
never seen that before, and he was like,
Right.
"This is revolutionary." When he was like, "What you guys are doing, you probably don't realize it because maybe you like don't know the industry as well as I do, but it hasn't been done before, and like it actually is extremely impactful."
Mm-hmm.
And that was like one of my first customer calls. I was like, "Wow, this is awesome to hear." Right
Mm-hmm.
now, a way we ended up pivoting a bit and kind of figuring out exactly who we are as a company was very early on. My co-founder emailed David Siegel from
Mm-hmm.
Firebelly T being the Shopify president store. He just
Right.
sent him a message like, "Hey, like we have this thing and we think it's cool." And he responded. And then
Mm-hmm.
he was one of our first 15 customers. So one of our first 15 customers was the Shopify president. And that
Mm.
gave us so much confidence to be like, wow, the president of the ecosystem is using our app. Like that is
Right.
awesome, right? They
Right.
ended up replacing their quiz with Alia. They end up also replacing their pop-up with Alia. That told
Wow.
us, hey, okay, so like maybe we do work pretty well as a pop-up, right? If they're willing to
Mhm.
replace their entire pop-up with us,
Right.
maybe pop-up is what we should become, right? So that was a
Mhm.
good moment for us. I was like, hey, the Shopify president trusts us, and what does he think about it? Where does his team see this fitting in? And they
Right.
replaced their pop-up, and I was like, okay, so they replaced their pop-up. These other brands replaced their pop-up with us. Why don't we just go all in on being an amazing pop-up tool
Mhm.
so that when we go ahead and replace the quiz and the pop-up, not only are we getting good zero-party data, not only are we getting good customer education, but we're increasing their opt-ins and
Mhm.
significantly increasing their opt-ins too.
Mhm. Okay, so if there's any secret sauce that you don't want to like talk about, you don't have to. Okay, but like, what's the magic behind Alia's like 2x sales lift and 10 to 15% on opt-ins? Design, the
Yeah.
timing, is it gamification? Like, kind of like for people who are like, what is this like devil's magic happening? When I log into the app and I see all these opt-ins, what's happening there?
Yeah, and it's a great question, right? And I'd say the reason people have been really happy and we're 2xing list growth is because we know what works, right?
Mm.
And like we work with 900 brands now, so I'm super thankful about that. We get probably 100 million views of our pop-ups a month at this point, right? And when you have that much data, we have really good decision making ability, right?
Mm.
So it means like we know that the minute detail on the pop-up is actually important. And we know that this specific word versus this word is important. We know this graphic works better, this delay time works better, right?
Mm.
Because we have that context, right? And then when you have these incremental things,
Mhm.
you see those results, right? You
Right.
you tweak one word, you tweak one graphic, you have it at the right time. These things all add up into
Mm.
we're getting you a 15% opt-in rate, right? And there really is no black magic. And transparently, if you put Alia into Klaviyo and you put Alia into Alia versus PostScript, like you will get the same amount of opt-ins. Like you will see the same amount of opt-ins, right?
Mm.
Now, the difference is like you don't know what A/B test to run. It
Mm.
can feel like you're kind of throwing stuff at a wall and hoping it
Right.
sticks when you're running your own A/B tests without
Right.
the context. But we
Mm.
have that context. So we know this A/B test works because we just ran it with this other massive brand and it crushed. Let's see
Mhm.
how it works for these guys. So I'd say the context and the data is what matters and how we're getting those rates.
So with that being said,
Mhm.
you said you're all in on building a pop-up tool. It
Yeah.
really sounds like you're building something bigger.
Um, I mean, like pop-ups are super cool because they're used by every single brand in the world.
Hmm.
Like every
Hmm.
single brand uses it, right? And we're building stuff bigger, honestly, still inside of the pop-up. Like I
Hmm.
don't think, at least for the foreseeable future and the vision I have for the company, to not be a pop-up tool.
Hmm.
We're currently adding an AI for infinity testing. We're adding like smart triggers, smart offers, but
Right.
all in the lens of just the pop-up.
Mm. Mm.
Because the market is big enough and
Right.
everyone needs one. And if
Right.
we can be so good at just the pop-up, it gives us so much leverage, you know?
I agree. I agree. What was something that you were wrong about in the early days?
That's a good question. Something I was wrong about in the early days was I thought that, and I'm sure a lot of entrepreneurs can relate, like, I thought that when you hit revenue marks,
Oh yeah, yeah,
um,
yeah.
like
It's my
the
favorite too.
problems go away, right? And they don't. Like,
Oh man.
and I, I've seen a few quotes, and that I think probably one of my favorite here is like, um, don't wish for the rain to go away. Instead,
Right.
like dance in the rain, right?
Mhm.
It's like
Mhm.
you're always going to have problems in life, and life
Right.
is about understanding that you're going to have a problem and that you're just living in that existence, right?
Mhm.
But I think when I was starting the company, I was like, okay, like if we get to like, I mean, we can do it. Like, if we get to 100K in rev,
Right. Right.
all my problems today will be gone. And it's
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
true. You get to 100K
Yeah.
in rev and you have more problems, but you have different
Right.
problems, right? Now we're at
Right.
about, now we crossed a million. Now we're closing in about 2 million revenue. And it's
Right.
like, oh, like I thought that when I when I was at a million to 2 million, there'd be no problems. But like, there always is problems. They're just bigger problems or different
Mhm.
problems. And like,
Mhm.
I think I didn't understand that. And now that I have that context, not only am I
Mhm.
okay with the problems that exist, but I'm excited for the new ones that are coming because I know I have the ability to solve them.
No, that's great insight. And that reminds me of one of my favorite quotes. It's the definition of business is solving problems.
Yeah, that's a great one.
When I heard that, I realized like I really shouldn't be like complaining or stressing. Like I should embrace it, or I should pivot and go get a 9 to 5. And I didn't
Yeah,
want to do that, right? So it's like,
yeah,
I embrace it. So
love it. And I think, sorry, I think the quote I was trying to think of as well is like, life isn't about waiting for the storm to pass. It's about learning how to dance in the rain.
right. No, I love
And
that
like,
too. Yeah, it's one of my favorites.
yeah.
All right. Okay. So you guys are building, you guys are growing. Are you guys getting a lot of feature requests? What kind of feature requests are you getting? And how's that playing to your roadmap, or do you just feel confident what kind of what you guys have in front of you?
Yeah, it's interesting, right? When we started the company, we thought of this is what we thought. When we with early very first week, we were like, hey,
Mm,
we don't know anything. We're a blank canvas.
mm,
Like, hey, brands, come paint what you want on us.
mm,
Like, tell us what you want. So then
mm,
we can go ahead and create a beautiful canvas and a beautiful painting. Very
mm,
early days, right? Again, albeit we had no real experience in e-commerce, we were ready to be told as to what to build, right?
mm,
Now, as that painting has been drawn and drawn and drawn, like I think we're
mm,
getting a much better sense and a much better intuition as to
mm.
what things are the future, what things of the future do we want to build, and
Right.
what things do we believe are going to bring the biggest value, right?
Mm,
There's two kinds of builds. One is
mm,
like an obvious one that customers are requesting, and
right.
second is a non-obvious one that no customer will ever request, but
Right.
they'll love it, right?
Mm,
Like for reference, like we're currently building it. We actually just finished building it is infinity testing, which is super
mm,
cool. It means like 24/7,
mm.
every single but brand will have their pop-ups being optimized through AI A/B tests.
Right.
Like graphic, copy, offer, anything will
Right.
always be every single brand we have,
Mm,
24/7 will be having tests run on them. And I'm not
mm.
gonna run them, the AI will be running them.
Right.
And like nobody ever requested that. But it was
Right.
just like when we push this out, people are going to love it and it's going to
Mm,
move needles for our business,
mm,
right? So like there's non-obvious and then obvious. So
mm,
as CEO, I probably focus more on what are the non-obvious things that no one's
mm,
asking for, but
mm,
genuinely can drive us so much forward. And then there's the day-to-day things like, hey, can you be a bit better at Klaviyo integration? Can your attentive integration be closer? Can you do Black Row integration? Right, like those like not smaller things, but just like the
Right.
obvious things that we might get requested for.
Mhm.
And we still love hearing customer feedback. I take every
Right.
single demo, so I hear so much feedback, and
Right.
I love it because without that, like we are nothing. We're nothing without our customers, and we're nothing without our feedback. Like
Right.
we thrive on that, to be honest.
That's awesome. That's awesome. You built something that the community really loves. What impact does that have on your team that is such a young team as well? Like, how does that feed into how you guys are building for tomorrow?
Yeah, it's yeah, and I'm first I want to say I'm super thankful for that. Like I didn't realize e-commerce had this amazing community before I joined. I was like, wow. And now that I'm in it, I'm like, wow, this is so cool. Like everyone is just building and they're doing cool things and they're
Hmm.
happy to share it. And if
Right.
something is working, everyone will share it. Everyone will know. And
Hmm.
like I didn't know that was a thing. Like I thought, oh, okay, if I want to grow, I'm gonna have to
Hmm.
like spend money on ads. It's like, no, honestly,
Right.
if you have a great product and you're
Right.
just like a nice person, like people are happy to tell
Right.
their friends,
Right. Right.
you
Right.
know?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think I'm really lucky in e-commerce because of that. And I guess
Hmm.
like how it feeds into like us and thinking about building, like it gives us a
Yeah.
lot of confidence because it's
Yeah.
like, hey, like look at this tweet that Chris made. It's like he just made a tweet saying Corey's messaging me at Slack at 2 a.m. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
that's great. Like I send that in my big team channel. I'm like
Hmm.
everyone like look how well Corey's doing. He made it on Twitter,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
everyone's like, oh wow, like we love seeing that. So
Yeah.
like it's really good morale for my team, and they
Hmm.
know that like um it starts from top down as well, right? Like
Right.
if I have a good relationship with somebody, then they go and meet Corey, then they go meet our CSM, then they go meet a
Right.
new hire we just made. Like everybody is very like I think helpful and like none of us have really egos. Like we all just try to
Right.
be like helpful and
Right.
just be good to other people. And
Hmm.
like, it kind of does come back eventually.
Yeah. All right. So if you could go back to day one of building Alia, like what advice would you give yourself?
Yeah. And honestly, like I wouldn't give myself a single piece of advice back then, because
Yeah.
I'm happy that I made mistakes. I'm happy I did things incorrectly, and I'm happy I had those long nights where I couldn't sleep because
Hmm.
if I didn't, I wouldn't be the man I am today.
Right. That's an amazing answer. No, I like that. And just lastly here, like you and I just did we had a great time in Vegas for Shop
Yeah,
Talk.
that's awesome.
Um we uh we were on the top floor of the Mandalay Bay. Thank you
Let's
for the
go. Yeah.
invite, by the way.
Oh,
And
that's
you know, it was just it was like the who's who of DTC.
yeah,
Nick Sharma was spinning like, he was the DJ for the night.
yeah. That was
I was crushing Liquid Death,
let's go.
and you guys were there. You guys were
Yeah.
at the top, and
Wow. That's
you
good.
guys walked me through sort of like after party, walking through the hotel, getting in the elevator, sliding your key card, going into your room, and then just sitting on your bed and just taking all that in. Tell me what is going through your mind at that time.
Wow. That's a good question, and I wish I had a better answer, but
Mm,
I think I was just like, wow, I'm just like thankful to have the opportunity to be here. And like,
mm,
I'm grateful that my team was able to see it too, you know?
mm,
Like,
mm,
I'm grateful I wasn't here alone. I'm grateful, like, because I brought my three other team members, like, our like core team with us. And like,
yeah.
it's cool that we were all there together. I think like, because we actually ended up all sleeping in this, like, we got two queen beds
Yeah,
in one
yeah.
room. So we all slept together.
Love that.
So like, I think I was just like, wow, I'm thankful that like I'm here, but not that like I'm just here alone because I do go to events alone. I'm grateful that like my team is able to see this and I get to be with them and like we all get to like enjoy the fruits of our labor of like working really
Mm,
hard to be able to go to these kind of events. Like we get to enjoy it together.
yeah, that's amazing. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Thanks so much for coming on, man. And
Thank you.
again, if you guys haven't checked out Alia, it's the best pop-up you can install for your Shopify
Let's
store.
go.
I'm installing on Shopify store number 2 for myself.
Let's go.
and I'm really excited for the results. So, all right, man. Thanks so much.
Amazing. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
All right, bye.